The following is a presentation of TFNN. Time to talk about your health. Living a primal lifestyle.
You know, we have Tom from Tampa on the phone. Hey, Tom. Good morning. It's bright and early now, huh?
Hey, Paige. Good.
Hi, Tom.
How you guys doing, Nico?
Doing great.
Good. Hey, your newsletter's outstanding, man. I'm telling you, man, it is outstanding. And so is the Primal Edge. I love that stuff. I'd never be without it. I mean, I've been on it now 3-4 months, man. I mean, it's just, I can't get over how good I feel.
Primal Edge is, people are raving about it. People who are trying it, they know because you can feel it.
Would not be without it.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now your hosts, Nico DeHaan and Paige Clark.
Good morning, I'm Nico DeHaan. Welcome to Living a Primal Lifestyle, where we explore a return to a more balanced, natural, wild world.
To recover our natural health and regain our rights and freedoms. I'm Paige Clark. Good morning.
And it's a beautiful morning in downtown Clearwater, 77 degrees, mostly sunny. Going to have rain today, which will cool it down and kind of nice.
That's right. So make sure you subscribe to our Health Signals newsletter. We get a brand new issue out, just fresh off the press.
5 signs why you may want to stop eating bread immediately.
Okay. Very, very good. Good stuff. And pick up some of our Primal Edge Daily Nutrition, support the show, and get healthy to boot.
Wealthy and wise.
That's right.
Healthy,
and,
wealthy, and wise.
If you want to give us any ideas or comments about the show, you can email me at paige@tfnn.com.
And Nico at TFNN.com. Of course, you're taking your phone calls at 877-927-6648. So today we want to talk about the film, which is on Netflix, and I guess everybody's been getting emails about it. It's called What the Health.
Yes.
Instead of what the heck is going on, it's what the health. And this is kind of a controversial film, and it's really touted the vegan type of lifestyle. That's the basis behind the whole thing.
I'm going to tell you, I think it's a very well done film.
Yeah, it's
and it's very
cool.
compelling.
Mm-hmm.
But like anything else, I think we have to kind of dissect it a little bit. And I want to preface it before we go through it that it reminds me a lot of the politics in the world today.
Oh, yeah.
There's the left.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the right.
As if there's only two answers.
As if there's only two answers.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's and we're all forgetting about what's wrong in the middle and what's right in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I say that is I feel like it's a little bit more of that divide and conquer. Well, you're bad because you do this, and you're going to be unhealthy if you do this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we have to take it in context.
Yeah.
And we have to really look that we all have our research, and there's research to support these moves, and there's research that supports other things.
Yeah, and so some of the research is just really, really bad. I mean, if you go up a certain percentage in something, it doesn't mean that all of a sudden you've doubled the risk in things.
Right.
So, and this is what the premise is of this. It's like you said, it's really well done. They have nice logos. They have books. They have a cookbook. They have T-shirts. Mm-hmm. And they have a lot of claims. And I thought we'd go through some of these
Don't get me
claims.
wrong. I would rather see people migrate this way and get away from the factory food, the processed foods, the box-bagged candies, cookies, cakes,
But that's not really
processed
what they're
versus-
promoting. I mean, I don't have a problem with a plant-based diet if it's based on plants and not seeds.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're going to agricultural foods like rice and wheat and things like that, we know those things are not nutritious, even though they touted us so. And this is really what they're pushing. I mean, if we're just talking about using vegetables and fruits and seasonally, I'm all for that.
Yeah,
For sure.
Actually, that's a big part of the diet. And I like to preface that I think that a primal diet is a diet that looks at what our ancestors ate. And I don't think our ancestors were lucky enough to eat a Big Mac 3 times a day.
No, and that's
Or
not
ate
that's
21
something that's
times
not
a
a
week.
natural food.
It's not a natural food, and I don't think they were able to catch their food that way. It was maybe an occasional thing, or during the week, or, using the whole animal. So I do think that much of what's being presented in this documentary paints people who are omnivores as if they're eating all of this, like, Big Mac breakfast, lunch and dinner, meals, big servings of meat. And I think that will get anyone in trouble.
Yeah, and some of the claims they have are the claims are right. Here's one here that says only 5% of the population has a genetic predisposition to heart disease, yet it is the #1 killer globally. Maybe that's
a true
a fact.
statement.
That's a true statement. But what is actually causing the problem? That is the thing that we want to dig into a little bit, because we know that the oils that the industry is using and the fats that they're using are completely different than the fats that we grew up on as a species.
That's exactly right.
And that's the problem.
Yeah.
That's what causes most of these problems. And that is shows up in our food, too.
Yeah.
So here we have a statement that says high animal protein intake was associated with increased mortality. The substitute of plant protein for animal protein was associated with lower mortality. Perhaps this is a true statement. I'm not really sure, but it depends on the animal protein that you're eating. If you're eating a wild animal that's in a pristine area and you've killed it and rendered it properly, I think you probably have a really good source of protein there. And we're not ones that say we have to eat a lot of meat. We have to eat a little bit of meat.
No, that's what I
we're
just
saying.
said previously.
Yeah.
Again, this research, what type of animal protein was this increased mortality tied to?
Right.
And we know that just as much as there are these impressive studies, that show that, particularly like the works of Weston Price and others that have shown that there are cultures that eat only animal foods and not just survive but thrive. Quite frankly, there's a lot of people in parts of the world, and I think of southern India, where a lot of the yogic influence comes from, serious health issues on the starvation foods.
Sure.
On the starvation foods.
So
that we're
one of the
talking
things,
about.
too, that when we talk about protein is that the only tests that I see in the documents here are tests done on food that is highly processed, that the fast food industry, the canned industry uses.
We all can agree on that. That's what I want to say.
Yeah.
When I say we got the left and right, let's agree on what we know is bad.
Right.
Let's agree that we don't want to help the Golden Arches sell another burger.
Right.
We don't want, packaged, processed, highly preserved foods. This is, I think, that a palette of fresh, mostly raw, and sometimes cooked vegetables. I mean, of a multitude of colors is the way to go.
Yeah.
And with well-placed animal fats and proteins in the mix.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
So these studies are really talking about the processed food, highly processed foods, processed meats, and this is what we really want to get away with. So we do agree with that. Let's see what the next thing is here. Our job as doctors should be to stop highly marketed fish oil supplements in all our patients. Well, we know
That's
that...
Dr. Michael Greger.
Yeah.
I went and saw him when he was here, and I do believe that there's a serious amount of mechanically processed fish oils that are not properly stored. And I am always like, eat a fish. If you're going to if you want those types of proteins, get it from the source and not really.
And still, there's nothing wrong with supplementing your omega-3s because of our modern distribution.
Well, no, Nico, what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
No, there is something wrong with supplementing them.
Some of them
if you're not getting them, as he says, the highly marketed. There, you go into these big box stores where they've been on the shelf for God knows how long, in containers that aren't always dark, that weren't processed right. There are. You've got to know where you're getting them. If you're getting them where they're, I think that there's a cod liver oil that I like. I told you, Dropey, that's processed by 3 women in their boats and processed right away with no additives. These are things. It's about qualifying where you're getting your foods. Where you're getting your fruits and vegetables. I mean, if you're buying them where they've got 500 different sprays on them, that's not a good scene either.
Yeah.
Okay.
Folks, we'll be right back. We'll continue with this. What the heck? And what the health? You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com. platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Will the S&P 500 continue to climb? For bold trades on U.S. large-cap stocks in either direction, trade SPXL, SPUU, or SPXS. Directions Daily S&P 500 Bull and Bear Leveraged ETFs. Direction Leveraged ETFs. An investor should carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risks, charges, and expenses before investing. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a fund's prospectus and summary prospectus, call 866-476-7523 or visit directioninvestments.com. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Nico and Paige take your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
And we're talking a little bit about what the heck's going on with What the Health, the movie that's on Netflix and has some really great points about moving towards a healthier diet. But there's also, again, a lot of that divide and conquer, that there's only one way to do this. And I think, we want to kind of go down a little bit of this and have some discussions, kind of some pros and cons. I do think that many times people that are suggesting a vegan or extreme diet on either way, it could be either side, often are comparing the research using a population that's not representative of the people who are pursuing a healthy diet on the other side. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Dr. Will Cole, he's a functional medicine practitioner. He states that I completely agree with the film's assertion that a high-protein animal diet, especially devoid of plant food, feeds a wide variety of health problems, and I also agree with the pervasive corruption of the mainstream food industry. Well, we agree with that, too. Mm-hmm. Another thing is this doctor here, which is Dr. Cole, says I've been vegan for 10 years, so I can definitely understand the film's perspective. Of course, eating more plants is a good idea, and of course, avoiding all processed meat is a fantastic idea.
That's what we've been saying.
Eating healthy, grass-fed, organic meats and fats are part of a healthy human diet.
Yes, and he certainly says he sees labs improving from people who implement these healthy animal husbandry animals into their diet. And I see that too. I see people who are on the standard American diet that are really struggling, and I see people that are on either sides of exclusionary diets that are missing something.
Mm-hmm. And I think you can be in the center and do fine. I think you can still go to the normal grocery store and be very picky about what you eat and be very healthy. I think that's possible. Mm-hmm. You don't necessarily have to go to a health food store, but if you want sustainable meat, if you want meat that's been raised properly, that's eating their own food, you do have to seek that out. That's not in the normal store.
It's not, and it may not even be in the healthier stores. I'm not so sure now anymore how much we're really getting that exclusionary stuff that was pointed out last week with the Eggland's Best Eggs. They have a very organic-y, container. They're one of those ones that say the hens eat a vegetarian diet, and you and I know that we really don't want to eat hens that are eating corn and soy.
Sure.
and they should be having bugs. But
So here's another statement. Couples with higher total cholesterol levels showed lower pregnancy rates and took longer to become pregnant compared with those with lower levels. We don't know what this study really says. I mean, total cholesterol levels don't mean a lot as far as health is concerned. It depends on what you're eating. If you're doing it with these oils, these corn oils and soy oils, then that cholesterol is a heck of a lot different than if you're using butter or lard.
yeah, if they broke that out and they took a bunch of healthy people that are eating these healthier options and they had higher cholesterol, we do know that many doctors at the turn of the century would insist that young parents have cholesterol in the 225 to 250 range prior to conception. That's because you have enough hormone. Remember, where do we make our hormones from? We make them from cholesterol.
Okay.
So if we don't have sufficient cholesterol, a mother may not be able to sustain the pregnancy to produce the progesterone to hold the baby. So again, the double-edged sword of that, is it total cholesterol or is it healthy cholesterol levels at whatever range?
Yeah, here we have a study of 620 people. A vegan diet may lower stress and anxiety levels according to a study. Yeah, it may. And then again, it depends where you start. If they tested me and I went on a vegan diet, that may not be the case.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I think like anything, this is very reminiscent of the China study.
Yes.
And then, there was some research that was compelling and that maybe perhaps was true, but then when you really looked at how the study was designed, Ansel Keys, for example, going back to the cholesterol theory, we know that has been disproven. Ansel Keys
By his own study.
Right. He had 20 parameters. 22, and he chose 7, yeah.
Yep.
Okay. To present, to
His
indicate,
philosophy.
his philosophy.
Yeah.
That's not good science, folks. And as we know, much science today is not good science because it's driven by people who have an alternative.
Here we have another study of 153 people, vegans, vegetarians, and omnivores. Found that vegans had the highest level of short-chain fatty acids. They call that the beneficial gut bacteria. Indicating that they had a healthier microbiome. When you look at these studies, and this is in the large intestines, this is where you're breaking down most of your plant food. So naturally, if you're doing a study on that, if you're eating more plant food, then you're going to have those levels that are a little bit different. But if you're eating grains and things like that, that probably will not be the case because that's what disrupts that.
Well, as you and I have indicated to people, grains and seeds are nutrient disruptors.
Yes.
And many times interfere with the absorption of other vital minerals and nutrients. So, again, that two-edged sword.
Yeah.
But if you're eating lots of greens, which is a big part of what I teach people, the vegetables are a big part, and your proteins and fats are an accompaniment. I think that's more of a balanced diet. That's what I like, too.
Yeah. Okay, let's continue here. Individuals who consume the most animal protein were 22% more likely to develop type 2 diabetes compared with who ate the least. I've never seen a study that indicated exactly that, but probably depends on the animal protein that you would be eating. If
If you're eating a lot of commercial beef, the people that are eating the very commercialized beef and so forth are the same people that are going to McDonald's for lunch and Taco Bell in the afternoon,
Right.
and getting the supersized versions and this kind of a thing.
Right.
They're not conscious of where their animals came from. And as we know, we can take and turn protein into sugar, just to simplify the science of it all. That protein is often excess protein. When you eat too much protein, it's actually stored
And not
as
only that,
sugar.
it spikes your insulin.
Well, that's what I mean,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's stored as sugar, so your insulin
Exactly.
spiked. Yeah.
The thing, too, I was watching the film, and I encourage everybody to watch the film. It's a good film. You need to watch it so you can really tell what you're doing and see how it mixes with what they're telling you. But one of the doctors in there was asked about diet, and he goes, wait a minute, if we're going to talk about diet...
No, that wasn't a doctor. That was, it was a kidney doctor.
Yeah,
wasn't it,
kidney
or
doctor,
something?
yeah. So he was saying, no, we can't talk about diet. He says, well, why not? He says, what if I'm on a certain diet? He says, no matter what diet you're on, as long as you stick to it, you'll be fine.
Well, and that was a perfect example. What I really did like is the show showed the disconnect and the utter disrespect for lifestyle, or the implications that lifestyle has on health outcomes, because we now know that our nuclear genome, genes do not cause your health problems. In fact, we're completely wrong by even looking at the nuclear genome when we're talking about diseases of metabolism, diseases of chronic illness, which is what is the issue and what we're all talking about in this show. We are looking at the wrong genome, folks. Do you know what that is? Do you even know that we have 2 genomes? Do you know we have 2 genomes?
I'm going to learn.
We have a mitochondrial genome. You inherit that from your mother.
Mm-hmm.
Your mitochondria are the energy organisms in your body that create all the energy, and it is the mitochondrial DNA that how the health of the mitochondrial DNA influences these metabolic diseases. And guess what?
What?
Food is not the main factor.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm tired of fighting about food. If you want to be vegan, you want to be vegetarian, you want to be keto, that's fine. Be smart enough to avoid the factory foods, the highly processed foods. Get out in nature. As Dr. Jack Kruse says, the mitochondria is stimulated by light, magnetism, and water, not food. How about that? Shake you up a
3
little bit.
problem areas we have in our modern living.
So, yeah, let's get the focus where it needs to be.
Okay.
Be right
Stick
back in a
around,
second.
folks. We'll be right back. Number here is 877-927-6648.
We'd like to tell you about the personal training studio that Nico is the owner and president of, Performance Training. Since 1998, Nico has trained individuals and groups to improve their health both mentally and physically. As a certified personal trainer, Nico's main focus is on demonstrating exercises correctly to avoid injury and teaching his clients how to manage their past injuries while getting the most out of their personal training sessions. The Performance Training Studio is filled with unique training equipment that enhances balanced results at a faster rate while minimizing damage and discomfort. For more information, you can give Nico a call at 727-418-8740 or email him at nico@tfnn.com. Let him know you heard him on TFNN and save up to $100 on a special package just for TFNN listeners. Act today.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video, giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com.
Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And welcome back. In our newsletter on page 7, we have what a hunter-gatherer diet does to the body. And this is an interesting thing. We talked about this the other day, that this guy spent 3 days with the Hazda in Africa and changed his microbiome, his stomach contents and the colon and everything, and to a much, much healthier, just
And,
by
he,
eating
and I
it.
remember, he
Yeah.
was eating animal foods and plant foods.
Right.
So there you go.
So we have a caller on the line, Robert from Buffalo, so let's go with him. He
Hey,
has
Robert.
a question. Hi, Robert. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you. You guys doing good too?
Oh, yeah.
Super.
Fantastic.
Okay. Here's the thing. My daughter just left. She spent a week here, and my 17-year-old grandson, I found out he does not eat vegetables at all.
Mm-hmm.
He's 17 years old. He's 5'6", and I'm a little concerned about that. And I just wondered if this information you're giving out is going to be in your newsletter.
Yes, it will be.
I want to send this newsletter. I want to get it and send it to my daughter.
It will be, and I would encourage her to watch the film and then look at what other people are saying about this, because, a kid not eating vegetables, that's pretty normal.
Let's quantify that a little bit. When you say he's not eating vegetables, what is he eating? Is he eating grass-fed beef and oysters, or is he eating McDonald's, Taco Bell?
They were here for a week, and I haven't seen them eat one good meal yet.
Right. Yeah, see, that's the real premise, and my argument that I just said in the last session is when we become polarized, just like left and right in the political world, we neglect to see what's right about both sides of those arguments, and we let the bad guys, the guys that are producing the Franken factory food, the nutrient void, the fast food, the food that's designed to last forever. I saw a picture of someone that had bought a McDonald's Happy Meal 6 years ago, and they took a photo of it, and it was still sitting there. That tells you what they're doing to it. Yeah. So any way to get people moving in the direction of real food, this movie, it's called What the Health. They can watch it on Netflix. Seems to really speak to people of all age ranges. But Nico and I are saying it again is dividing and saying, oh, you need to be a vegan or a vegetarian to be healthy. That is not true, as we have focused on hunter-gatherers. But it's what you hunt and what you gather. And it is what you eat in terms of the vegetables. So I think that I would tell your daughter to start visiting the Weston A. Price, which is, I believe, one of the most balanced websites, westonaprice.org. He studied the diets of healthy people the world over, and it really helps someone move towards healthier food. I can understand how upsetting that is. That's one of the reasons kids today have more disease and a shorter lifespan is partly the quality of the food they're eating and also their detachment from nature. They're addicted to these. They're addicted to these. And they're not getting the proper light in their eyes to signal the healthy reactions.
He's got eye problems too.
Well, one of the first things, they have to be interested in their own health and figuring that out. That's the first indication right there.
We don't teach our kids that in school, though. The most important thing is this health education. And even more sad than what we don't teach our kids, Robert, is we don't teach our doctors. And yet millions of people are going to their doctors for health advice, and doctors have no training in nutrition. They're excellent at acute injury and trauma. That's who you want. Yeah. They're trained in that, but...
I know. They're trained in medicine primarily and not health.
Yeah. So that's why finding health coaches and functional health experts to work with, doing your own research is the best thing. I mean, we now all have access to the same publications our medical doctors should be reading. And but instead, we're reading them, and then we're going to the doctor's office, and they're a little miffed because they're not up to speed.
Yeah.
Excuse me 1 second. I gave her the website, and I told her to listen to your program.
Okay.
Hopefully she's on the other end listening to you right now.
If not, just send her the link afterwards.
Yeah, she can find it. Robert, thank you for listening. And we have to start caring about the next generations, and we've got to make sure that they get the truth, because industry, the food industry and the drug industry is not interested. They don't make a lot of money if we stay healthy. So we have to kind of circumvent the message.
Thanks for calling, Robert. I really appreciate it.
Thanks very much.
You're welcome.
Good luck. Thank you, Robert.
Okay, so one of the things here they're talking about is people who consume 1.5 eggs per week, nearly 5 times the risk of colon cancer, according to a study. International Journal of Cancer. So this is another one of those things.
Well, and then again, let me read you a little bit, because I'll counterpoint. What kind of eggs? Factory-raised eggs that have been fed every kind of pesticide. Again, they're not qualifying which kind of egg eater. Is it the person who's buying? I mean, I totally get it. if you're buying these eggs from the grocery store. But some of the other experts say it's not so fast, because to say that the dioxins that they're finding in these eggs that cause these cancers are specifically in eggs and not other animal products is a oversimplification. And
we know eggs is one of the most perfect foods in the world, for sure.
Well, it's loaded with the animal source of vitamin A. True vitamin A is not available in any plant foods, and that it helps to remediate any toxic actions. But again, we need to look at where the source of the eggs are, and are these chickens eating this genetically modified corn and soy from the plant kingdom? This can be a real concern to taint a natural egg from a chicken that should be eating a mix of bugs.
Individuals who consume the most protein from red meat increase their risk for kidney disease, according to a study of 63,000 participants switching to a plant-based protein cut their risk by 60%. And again, here we have, if you're eating the standard American diet and then you go to a plant-based diet, you probably are removing a lot of toxins, as long as those plants are toxin-free and you're not eating a lot of rice and wheat and things like that.
And again, the most protein, well, in the standard American diet, the average person is probably getting twice as much protein as they need.
Sure.
And they're getting a poor source of protein, albeit the right source but a wrong quality. And they're getting these toxic sources. And no doubt, not being able to digest your food and break down your protein means that the kidney has to take care of the improperly digested food, comes back to correcting digestion. Comes back to correcting the digestion at the starting with the amylase and then into the stomach. If the kidneys are stressed, it's because the digestion wasn't good to start with.
Plant-based diets are linked to half the prevalence of hyperthyroidism compared to diets that include meat and dairy products.
Notice how they didn't say plant-based diets are linked to half the prevalence of hypothyroidism. What we see is that many vegans and vegetarians, unfortunately, sometimes down the road will develop hypothyroidism, low thyroid, because they're not getting the cofactors. Why not? They have low cholesterol, so they can't make the progesterone. They don't have vitamin A from food sources, because vitamin A is what's necessary in that hormone cascade. They do not have enough zinc. Where do we get most zinc? From the animal kingdom. So again...
and of course the meat and the dairy products are not the type of meat or dairy products even that we would consume.
But again, hyperthyroidism is much less common than hypothyroidism is what we see, and hypothyroidism is found in people who are not getting some of these fat-soluble nutrients. So
stick around, folks. We got a lot more. What the health is the subject today, and you really need to see the film, and then you need to dig into it a little bit deeper like we're doing right now.
That's
We'll be right back.
Be right back.
You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
This segment is brought to you by TFNN. Test drive all the newsletters for free at TFNN.com.
Welcome back to Living a Primal Lifestyle. You know, we're going through this movie that's on Netflix. It's called What the Health? And let me just say there are tons of great movies about health on Netflix. Mm-hmm. Documentaries can be a great way to expand your knowledge about what's going on.
Yep, I agree.
And, you know, at the same time, I want to kind of present maybe someone who's on the other side of the camp, pretty well known, very well respected, as Rob Wolf.
Yeah.
And as, you know, we're talking a little bit, you and I both looked at this one quote behind you right now. It says, "Those who consume the most grains weighed 7.2 pounds less than those who do not consume grains." Again, I think that I'm sure we can find some populations, like in southern India, where food is scarce, mm-hmm. and rice is a big part of their subsistence starvation diet. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, they have a tremendous issue with diabetes and some other things going on down there because of this and lack of the fat-soluble nutrients. But I'm sure
we know that farmers, if they want to fatten up their pigs and cows,
they give them skim milk and grains. Yeah. So
that same thing happens to us, folks. So this is completely wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know what the study was all about.
But you know, I was looking at Rob Wolf, and you know, Rob Wolf has millions of followers, and he said. Here's a wolf's eye view of What the Health. So he says, "So I've had a lot of folks ask me for my thoughts on the Netflix documentary What the Health. I'll be honest, I drug my feet in doing this, as these postmortems tend to be fairly painful, but the request for some commentary has reached a bit of a fever pitch, so here it is with his usual preambles and caveats." So I'd like to kind of see, you know, what he's thinking. Some of his hesitation for digging into it is also that he's just not sure if it matters. People generally make up their decisions early and are seldom swayed by any future information. And I know that there's been a lot of people who have said, like you mentioned, didn't you get an email from someone that said, "Nico, this is the way to go"? Yeah. And tell them how you responded about the force. You said,
well, I said go into the woods for 3 or 4 weeks by yourself and eat the plants that are out there.
In the winter.
Well, anytime. In the winter, it's worse. Of course, you can't. But, you know, it would be very impressive if somebody lived out in the woods and had a plant-based diet. That would impress me a lot. I've never found anybody.
What has to be is some reason that we...
I mean, you could perhaps on a Pacific island somewhere, you know, but most of the time that doesn't happen. If you're looking at any hunter and gatherer society, they always include a little bit of meat in it. And let's just go for a minute and talk about this lady here, to switch. Woman in the Wilderness.
Now she is so cool.
Now Miriam is a Dutch gal, so I'm very fond of her to begin with. Plus she's a good-looking girl, and she met this guy about 7 years ago that lived in the woods. And I think they were in New Guinea or someplace, but they're in New Zealand.
Look
for the
at
last
her
6
arms.
years.
She looks healthy. A
She's
story
very
of
healthy.
survival,
She's the
love, and
hunter.
self-discovery.
She's the hunter. She was a vegetarian until they went in the wild. And she says in the wild, of course, you can't become a vegetarian. You can't live off plants in the wild. It's just no way. That's why we know our ancestors never did. There's never been one. Weston Price.
That's a nice way of saying
that's not our natural diet.
That's our natural diet, that our genome hasn't changed like an ink. And again, as I said earlier, our nuclear genome is not what we need to be concerned about. It's our mitochondrial genome, which is what we had, and it hasn't changed since then.
And how it switches on and off
and
to certain things.
It's controlled by light, not food. And food is important, but you've got to have the food and to survive. But boy, this looks like I'm not aware of her.
Yeah, she has a bunch of videos being promoted, and she's writing a book. Very, very cool. The guy she's with is about 63 years old. I think she's in her mid-30s, so there is a 30-year span there. Not too concerned about it, but they've been living off the grid completely. In other words, in a tent in the wild, and not going into town. And hunting their food. And hunting their food. She's the hunter, he's the cook.
Right.
It's a nice relationship, and I dig down into this. It'll be in the future newsletter coming up, along with all this stuff about what the health. So you can dig into yourself. I highly recommend you do that, because the other perspective is really cool. And not only are they healthy and her hair just shining, she doesn't use anything on it. Once in a while she has a problem with her hair. She says she uses her own urine on it, she says, which is terrible, and then she cleans it and it's fine. Solves many problems. So they've solved problems by going about it in the ancestral way. It's really good. But what she says about the lifestyle and how sharp you get, your thinking becomes clearer. You're much more relaxed. You're much more confident in your life by being able to do this. And I admire her a lot. There's not many people that can go out there and actually do it. We talk about it, they do it. So that's very impressive to me. So I search her out. If you just look up the Woman in the Wild, I think, or Wilderness Woman, anything like that will probably, and her name is Miriam Lancewood, a Dutch gal.
She is amazing. That is just absolutely fascinating to me.
So anybody who does that, that's very impressive. If you can do it being a vegetarian, that would impress me more. But that's not the case.
Well, and like you said, she was, and she found out that wasn't the way to survive in the wild, right?
Yeah. And she says, see, there's a real kinship between the animals that they catch, too. So in other words, when you get the animal and you put the animal down, then there's that moment there that you're thankful for the animal and show the animal the gratitude, kind of like our ancestors did, the American Indian did. And if you've seen movies about that, the people always kind of drink the blood, maybe eat part of the heart right away, that type of thing. These are rituals that are passed down because the blood, you can't keep that. It coagulates. The same with some of these organs. These are what they ate out in the field because they deteriorate very quickly and bring the rest of it home. So, and the hunters always had to be the sharpest, most knowledgeable and stealthy people in the world.
I'm going to tell anyone if they watch this movie, they should buy the book, Weston A. Price, Nutrition and Physical Degeneration, and read that book as a counterbalance. And know that that was a 40-year career of research, impeccably done. And he never found a totally vegan civilization that was thriving.
Well, they never found one at all that was living off the land and vegan. They just, you'd starve. You don't get enough protein.
So,
and they talk in this film
fats.
too. They talk in this film about the fats and the proteins that you get from plants, which are a lot better, they say, but actually for us, much, much harder to digest. And another thing that was mentioned in one of the podcasts I was listening to about this was that you're at a disadvantage if you're cesarean birth. You're at a disadvantage if you haven't breastfed. You're at a disadvantage in many different ways in our modern life at the beginning of this, and this is why we should be looking at
You're
this.
You're disadvantaged because we are delivering a not-so-healthy mitochondrial DNA to our children through our mothers because we are not getting this exposure to the light and the magnetism of the earth. We wear rubber shoes. We don't go out in it. We're not looking at the sun, S-U-N, the Son of God. S-U-N of God, okay? Let's face it. We're not drinking structured water. Robbie's taught us a lot about how, we create that easy water, and it's the sun that makes it. The sun is what changes and transforms water.
And we're always in buildings.
Yeah, so let's go on about what Rob Wolf. Rob Wolf is a leader in the paleo field, and he's been asked by people to make some comments. So we're going to go on a break here, but he talks about the fact that, this does get you, when you slight this, maybe you're going to get on the cranky side of some of the vegan or vegetarian extremists, but we've got to stop being on the extreme. We got to meet in the middle. Let's hear some of Rob Wolf's commentary when we get back. Don't go anywhere.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Trader's Edge, heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
No matter where you're listening to TFNN programming, you can always access your favorite shows on demand through TFNN.com. TFNN airs live programming every market day from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. Eastern, and you can view each program by accessing Tiger TV through our homepage. We even have an easy link for all mobile devices, including iPhones, iPads, and Android devices, located in the top right-hand corner of the TFNN homepage. You can use your smartphone to view Tiger TV, but if you don't have a connection that can keep up with streaming live video, then you can simply visit TFNN.mobi in the browser of your smartphone for live streaming audio of all our programs. The mission of TFNN is to educate our audience directly and interactively through our interactive website and call-in talk shows. TFNN is able to teach all levels of investors the technical skills needed to trade in today's marketplace. In order to get the best information possible, TFNN has assembled the most respected financial minds in the country to provide the most current news and comprehensive advice available. TFNN.com, educating investors. Up next, 9 before 9 with John Logan on TFNN.
So this is what Rob Wolf says, What the Health is telling an important story and highlighting just how much disagreement there is in the health food world, which is, in the current climate, hard not to see as a reflective of the world at large. It's easy to cherry pick studies to shape an argument in many directions, which is why so many experts recommend a personalized approach to nutrition based on what works for the individual body. It says here, if you're waiting around for science to tell you exactly how to eat, you'll starve to death first. Nutrition science is confusing. You can find science to back up just about any assertion.
That's very true.
Heck, even Harvard and Oxford argue about the research. If those smarty pants can't agree, how are normal people like us? Mm-hmm. Yes, dig down into whatever you can dig up about this and other things and find out what works for you.
I really suggest that people get this. We don't have time in the show. It's called What the Health, A Wolf's Eye View.
I'll put this in the next newsletter.
And for those of you that subscribe to the news, you'll get it, but otherwise go find it. Because he goes through the movie by the minute, a couple of key points where a couple of the doctors point to certain research. And I think this is a very compelling article that Rob Wolf has put together.
Yeah. RobWolf.com, ROBBWOLF.com, where Ralph Wolf is.
Yeah, so there was quite a bit of arguably flawed data presented, very much like the China study. Again, I just want to get back to the point, folks. It's not just all about the food. It's the environment. Yeah. We can't get well in the environment that we became ill.
Well,
so that includes food is just one prong of it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The scary part for me is that when people watch this, they come to me and say, "Oh my God, they've convinced me. I need to go vegan," because they're not looking at the studies. They're not.
I think you just have to let them go. This is what I'm struggling with too. Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm not arguing with them.
Yeah,
do
like
what
you said,
want.
I like what you said. Go see if you can live in the forest.
Even for 10 days. Rob Wolf a few years back was on this caveman show. It was televised, I think, on Discovery.
Right.
And they lived 10 days out in the woods. They just had a couple of basic tools. He went to a couple of classes on how to make fire and how to shoot the different tools that they use to get animals. He actually brought down an elk, about a 600-pound elk himself. But there was one vegetarian, and I think you can find this stuff on YouTube, the old Discovery series. And there was one vegetarian who actually just was starving through the whole thing. She wouldn't eat anything. She didn't know what plants to eat, which is normal. And there's not a lot of plants out there, even though they're
And that's a very good point. A lot of vegetarians are not even aware of what the wild
No, because we have 7 vegetables and 7 fruits that we eat.
Yeah, they don't have that biodiversity that you would find in the wild.
In the wild, you can't find that unless it's the season for it. And most vegetables are, there's spring vegetables, there's summer vegetables, and there's fall vegetables. Fruits mostly are fall, unless you're doing citrus.
Yeah, preparing for getting... Well, citrus is winter, and I think the reason is the high vitamin C to sort of offset the viral...
Sure.
Yeah, it comes out just when we're probably a little bit run down from the cold of the winter, perhaps.
Yeah, and remember the Chinese people who, were indigenous to areas where there was oranges and things like that, only used the peels and spritzes of these things. They didn't eat it. They thought it was too much of the vitamin C coming in. You need a little bit of it.
Right.
So it's an interesting thing. And this is what keeps us going, the interest in developing a plan for yourself and how you should be eating. Very, very important, because this is tied directly to your health.
Well, it's one of those factors, but the primary factor, folks, I'm totally convinced, is what Jack Kruse is teaching in his theory of, biophysics, is that it's about how light and food interact. Mm-hmm. So be an outsider, get outside and start absorbing the sun so your body can and learn about how we use our food.
Yeah, and look up the wild woman, Miriam, and see what she's been doing, and just see, this is just another perspective, and it's a good perspective, and I liked it a lot. So we appreciate you sticking around. I hope this helped a little bit, didn't confuse you too much, because it is a very confusing
And let us
subject.
know if any of you guys catched up and see the show. Give us some comments, and we'll talk about it next time.
Thanks, everybody.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Since 1984, Basil Chapman has been using the Chapman Wave methodology to advise traders of his expert market opinion. While originally hand-drawing charts from the late 1970s into the 1980s, Basil noticed that prices under most circumstances virtually always had a certain number of legs to the upside before declining sharply. Later, Basil found that computer software, which included the standard market technical indicators, enhanced the degree of accuracy in calling price turns, as well as market trend calls. Thus was born the Chapman Wave sequence. Using the Chapman Wave methodology along with other indicators, Basil Chapman advises his subscribers of his expert market opinion each market day with his opening call newsletter. Right now, you can get a 2-week free trial to the opening call, Basil's daily trading newsletter, by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during that trial and pay absolutely nothing. Get your 2-week free trial to Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, today by visiting TFNN.com.
You're watching Tiger TV.